Ted Kaczynski, otherwise known as the Unabomber, was an American mathematician, philosopher, and domestic terrorist. This video's focus is not going to be on Ted's criminal activities. Instead, I'm going to be interpreting his philosophy through the metaphysical lens of the CTMU. Ted's magnum opus, Industrial Society and Its Future, is a manifesto and philosophy that largely centers around the integrity of nature and the perils of industrial and technological evolution. Ted highlights concepts that have incredible significance, conceptually, morally, pragmatically, and psychologically. However, an essential missing component of Kaczynski's philosophy is a coherent metaphysics through which it can be possibly interpreted, properly understood, conceptualized, and rationalized. One of the most significant concepts in this work is that of the so-called power process, of which Ted posits that the very core of the lack of fulfillment in the human condition is burdened by the lack of autonomous procession in what is a process of achieving a sense of power and pride in an individual's own self and identity. Ted posits that as human beings, we have our teleology tied to providing the means for our own survival. In the most essential and primitive denotation, because as he sees it, that is what is ultimately real in reference to the human condition. We humans want power, and what we want most is a sense of autonomy and reassurance about our capacity for survival. That has been extinguished by industrialization and technological evolution. We only need to do the bare minimum to maintain a job, which is a substitute for any attempt at our own fulfillment of our biological necessities. We trade our time at a cubicle for food and shelter points, and we use those points. Now this, for any functional human being, creates a vacuum in this power process, a hole that is left to be fulfilled. So the question to be asked at the behest of industrialization is, how is this fulfilled? In restitution for the inadequacy of the power process necessitated by an industrialized society, humans, to maintain a semblance of reason for existence, attempt to fill the void by doing what Ted calls surrogate activities. Surrogate activity is any activity that is not necessary for the existence and maintenance of an individual. It is a constructed end towards which humans summon an artificial drive of accomplishment, ultimately lacking substance, as Ted argues, because of its lack in being able to replicate the value of worthwhile activities. In this philosophy, the determination of fulfillment is confined by what constitutes human survival, which is something akin to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, an ultimately self-referential and self-justified process. There is no substitution or illusion in fulfilling one's biological needs. It is, after all, what literally constitutes a human being. There is no surrogacy. There is no need for an artificial construction to feign an illusion of purpose. All that there is all that is necessary to be. Nothing more, nothing less. Human identities are constituted by a necessary reassurance in their autonomy, as Ted has established. Technology, as a consequence, can't fit within this framework. It works directly against it, to destroy it. Technology creates dependence at the illusion of utility, not necessitated by the power process. Technology then enslaves, as one's independence of it causes one to be practically dysfunctional in an industrial society without it. Imagine not having a car, a telephone, a TV, the internet, a refrigerator, or a job, and living in the city. It practically exalts you from survival. And in this precise way, technology not only enslaves, but punishes those who attempt at independence, and consequently, an unconscious construction kills the purpose of its conscious creator. For what? Ted's manifesto, in its essence, has a problem in dictating truth or prescription. Who's to say technology should not be used? Who's to say that all that there was to human teleology was to eat, sleep, shit, and then repeat? Doesn't the capacity for complexity entail that we should have the ability to enslave ourselves if we wanted? Who's to say that Ted has a foundation to reject any of our objections towards reclusive primitivism? What ethical foundation does he have? What gives him the role of dictator? Ted's philosophy, though brilliant, lacks in ways. The CTMU makes up for this. Insofar as the implications of Ted's ideas about purpose are concerned, they are and can be metaphysically justified. As human beings, as tellers, as operators of reality's self-identification, as those which instantiate reality's self-identification, as those which participate in the creation and evolution of reality. What distinguishes us from that which we are not is our biological identity, and furthermore, the physical and metaphysical process by which it is reinforced. The very purpose of reality being a self-identification and maximization of existence, enslavement to technology only demotes our status in self-identification. The more dependent we are on that which is not us, the more this metaphysical necessity of self-identification suffers, and as a consequence, our power process suffers. The power process is only a biological extension of a deeper metaphysical process. Telic recursion, the process by which reality decides what potential states are best for the maximization of reality's existence and identity. As operators within and parts of reality, we are endowed with this metaphysical process, yet we manifest and exhibit it biologically. Freedom and autonomy are not only evolutionarily what constitutes the human identity, but freedom, metaphysically, entails the capacity to be not something else, to have the capacity to realize telic recursion, to choosing from potential outcomes, and insofar as they are in line with survival benefits, having the ability to identify one's existence by providing for it through the very means which makes it real and meaningful. That is the power process.